Welcome back to Slumbering Stones. Tonight we spend a single, unhurried day in ancient Giza among the people who raised the Great Pyramid. This story is made for sleep, so drift whenever you like. Tell us where you are listening from and what time it is there. Now dim the lights and settle in. First, an honest word about how tonight works. The town, the bread, the boats and the team names are all real, dug from the sand by archaeologists. The one man we will follow is our own gentle invention, a way of walking through a true place on imagined feet. So let us imagine him. Call him Meru, a stone hauler in his 20th year, asleep in a long gallery with 40 other men in the workers' town below the plateau. It is the hour before dawn in the season of the flood. The town around him is real, and it was found under the sand in the 1990s. Streets, sleeping holes, bakeries with their bread molds still stacked, whole rooms of fish bones, a copper workshop, a town built to feed a mountain and the people who moved it. Breakfast is bread and beer, and this is not a treat, it is the payroll. Egypt in this age has no coins. Wages arrive as loaves, as jars, as fish and linen, counted by scribes who count everything. The beer is thick, low in strength, closer to liquid bread than to anything served in a tavern. Meru drinks it from a shared jar, checks the wrapping on his palms, and walks out into the grey light with his gang. Gang is the right word, and it is their own. The crews worked in named teams, and they left those names painted on hidden stones. The friends of Khufu, the drunkards of Menkora from a later reign, men have not changed so very much. The flood season is the busy season, strange as that sounds. When the Nile rises, the fields drown, the farmers are free, and the river itself comes almost to the foot of the plateau. Barges ride the high water, heavy with casing stone from Turin. At the harbor, Meru's gang takes over from the river. The block is lashed to a wooden sledge. A boy walks ahead, pouring water on the sand, because wet sand, the workers know, carries a sledge far more kindly than dry. Modern physicists tested this, and the workers were right. 20 men to a rope, a steady chant to keep the pace, and the sledge creeps up the ramp a hand's width at a pull. It is slow. It is meant to be slow. Nothing about a pyramid rewards hurry. At midday, the desert turns white with heat, and the work pauses. Shade, water, salted fish, and the oldest workplace pleasure of all, lying on your back and complaining gently about the foreman. The bones from the town tell us the menu was not poor. Beef, sheep, goat, and fish beyond counting. Somebody was provisioning these crews the way you provision people whose work matters to the king. In the shade, an older hauler shows a new boy how to wrap his rope hand. A scribe passes with his pallet, counting jars. Somewhere behind them, the pyramid climbs a course, patient as geology. The afternoon belongs to the fine work. Up on the rising courses, masons true the faces of the stone with copper chisels and dolerite pounders, checking the line with string and a practiced eye. The haulers feed them blocks, the scribes feed everyone numbers. Was it brutal? It was hard, certainly. Bones from the workers' cemetery show healed fractures and worn spines, the signature of heavy labor. But they also show something else, set bones. Go. Men who were treated and kept and buried with honor in sight of the king's own mountain. That cemetery, found in 1990, is one reason scholars set aside the old story of armies of slaves. Slaves, are not usually buried beside the monument they built, with bread and beer for the next world. Evening comes down the plateau like a tide. The gangs walk home along the causeway, sunburnt and singing badly, which is the traditional way. Smoke rise from the bakery roofs. Someone's mother-in-law is already complaining about the fish. Supper is stew and yesterday's bread, softened in it. Meru sits with his gang in the long hall, 40 men who pulled the same rope all day, arguing gently about whose pull was strongest. The lamp oil is rationed, the laughter is not. Working on this episode, we kept thinking about one thing. History remembers Khufu and the pyramid keeps his name, but the sand kept the other story. The bakeries, the fish bones, the team names in red paint. The monument to the king turned out to be full of ordinary people. Perhaps that is the better half of the story. Meru sleeps, and the town sleeps around him, and above them the unfinished pyramid waits under the stars, a little taller than it was this morning. 4,500 years later, we know his town, his bread, and maybe even his team's name. Not bad, for a man history never wrote down. The fires are banked now, and the plateau is quiet. Let your breathing slow and let the day go. Good night from slumbering stones.